Hello Warlords, I'm back with another Kings of War battle report. This is the final round at Terrain Wreck, a special tournament full of themed tables bursting with terrain. And it is this final round that is the most exciting because it's on the Sylvan Forest table. Trees, trees, and more trees. Round 1 was against Abyssal Dwarfs, which was a victory. Round 2 against Undeads, which was a loss. Even though he took a Revenant Cavalry Horde, and we all laughed at him because, you know, all this terrain, why would you take a Cavalry Horde? But it worked for him. Round 3 is against Northern Alliance, helmed by the affable Geoff Holland, printer of much terrain and maker of the Dwarf King's whole terrain set that was featured in the last 2 battle reports on that table. So all that terrain he printed, and then Andrew Goodman painted. It looked really, really good. So what kind of Northern Alliance army did he bring? Well, for 1995 points, because that's what this tournament was all about, he brought 4 regiments of pack hunters, which are the budget Gladestalker option for the Northern Alliance army, so they can shoot, they can fight. That's pretty good. Then we have a human tribesman regiment upgraded to Hearthguard, which makes them punch a lot harder than the typical human tribesman. And they have the healing brew, so this pretty much they become crushing 2, defense 5 brutes, really nasty. Then we have a Frost Giant, so a big Titan with the Giant Club, so Giant Club does Slayer, D6, and Icy Breath that just comes with it, so just a classic Frost Giant. He also has 2 Thanes on Frostfang, which are large cavalry heroes, good to accompany Frost Giant and get in the way. Reasonably tough, and one of them has the Snow Fox upgrade to give them 1 extra attack, because why not? And then finally we have 𝗪𝗃, the legendary Ice Giant, which is really the actual Frost Giant that you always want to take. When you want to take a Frost Giant, you take 𝗪𝗃, and then if you want another Giant, then you take a Frost Giant, because 𝗪𝗃 is just a Frost Giant, but better. He's fearless, he's just good. And who has come along with a command dice for blue, a blue command dice. And I can't remember what the command orders for the Northern Alliance were. I think they're reasonably good, but off the top of my head, they are not in my brain. Then we have the formation, which are Talinar's Vanguard, which features 2 troops of half-elf berserkers, and then 1 regiment of the Frostclaw Riders. So that's the large cavalry Raven Riders. And the half-elf berserkers are good little blended troops, and they're fearless, so that's pretty good. I think they all get a bit of a buff in this formation, but it's nice. It's a nice little formation. We're using the new models that come in the ambush box. So that's his army. It's quite a lot of infantry with some big monsters, and just, you know, some general fun stuff. But it's just meant to hit hard, shoot a lot, and not take any prisoners. Now, I'll go through my army, which was the Trident Realms, and I've already introduced it twice already, so I won't go too long into it. And this time I'll actually put up the correct image of the army list, so I'll make sure that that image that comes up won't have any errors in it. Sorry about that in the last one. I just had to blur it out because otherwise I'd have to re-upload the whole video and couldn't be bothered. So, for 1995 points, Trident Realms army, I've taken what is not typical in my army, but it was all to ignore, essentially, the one thing of this whole tournament, which was the fact that there was lots of terrain. So I decided to take lots of units that I ignore terrain. We have Naiad and Snarers, 2 regiments of them, they have Pathfinder, so that's good. Riverguard Troop, they have Pathfinder. We have 2 hordes of Water Elementals, which have Strider, which is fantastic. And so, yeah, suddenly Water Elementals, not too bad. Then we have a Oceanborn Naiad Worm Rider Horde with Blood of the Old King to give them Elite and Vicious for 1 turn. These guys have Pathfinder, you guessed it. Then we have a Greater Water Elemental, which has Strider, and also has a cool little Radiance of Life for Naiad only, which is those Ensnarers and the Worm Riders. So, you know, it's just fun when it happens, but it doesn't happen nearly often enough. Then we have 2 Nuckers, and yep, they got Pathfinder. And they're very good at just getting in the way. Then we have the Kraken, who has been upgraded to 𝗪𝗏𝗏, the Tidebringer, which gives him Inspiring, which is good just for him being him, running around as a Kraken, so that he's got Inspiring to himself. But it also gives him Thunderous Charge 1 aura to things that have the Deep Ones. I think it's Deep Ones, or Cephalopod, or whatever. I think it's just Deep Ones now. Keyword, which is him, and the next thing, the 𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗃. So the 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗀's one of my support heroes. He's got Banechant 2, Surge 6, Surge just in case something happens with the Water Elementals, but really I'm not relying on it. Really I just want him for that Banechant 2 and maybe to hit something. And finally we have the Naiad Envoy with Bastion 2, and I gotta say this Bastion spell I cast so often. It's a fantastic spell. I usually chuck it on anything that's in the middle of my army, like the Greater Water Elemental, and it just improves, it gives rally, so then the Greater Water Elemental becomes -19, and everything around him gets a boost to their nerve as well. It's just, yeah, the Naiad Envoy with Bastion, fantastic. He also comes with Fury for, like, infantry and heavy infantry. I don't really care about that. Like, none of the infantry in this army really cares about continuing to fight. It doesn't matter if it's wavered or not in combat. It just needs to exist. Whereas, yeah, his Bastion spell, that's fantastic. So, yeah, that's my little secret sauce. And, yeah, I've been enjoying this army, and we're getting to the third round. My brain's getting a bit cooked a bit, but overall the army's not too hard to play because I essentially ignore the shooting phase. There's not much shooting in this army, so it's really just moving things around and eventually getting into combat and fighting. And so, yeah, it's a simple army to play and lots of fun using units that I just haven't really used. So let's get into the table. So we got we can see a lot here. So I think we're going to introduce the terrain first, and you can see there is a lot of terrain. We've got forests everywhere, so there's obviously a theme of forest. But we've Dan still managed. So Dan, being the mastermind of this tournament, Dan Bird, still managed to sneak in some other variations of terrain. So what we got here, we got forest. You can see forest, 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 forest. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 forests, you know, which is a little bit above the average of 2, which is fun. Then we have a hill, which has a forest on it. So we have one hill with a forest on it, and another hill over here. So this is probably the most open area on the right side. We have a river, so that's flat terrain. So a river just going along the bottom here, and then 2 ponds, so 2 more pieces of flat terrain. So that's 3 flat terrains, and one of these flat terrains is big. And then we have a blocking terrain right in the middle, which is Dan Bird's personally painted, beautiful elven 3D printed kind of like citadel tower thing. It's beautiful, and this is the perfect table for it. Like you feel like you're in the Sylvan Forest. And I mean, now we've done this tournament and we know that it's not crazy to play with this amount of terrain. He's thinking, could we go more? Could we have more terrain? Will it work? And I really think it would continue to still function very well, and it really changes things, because a lot of the time you're measuring and you're like, oh yeah, wait, I can't charge there because there's a forest and I just can't see. So a lot of the time you just don't have line of sight to things, and you think, oh yeah, well, it'll tamp down on the shooting armies, which you're right, it would. But I mean, in Australia we don't tend to have any crazy shooting armies, but what it really does is it just changes up how charging works. So suddenly, like, threat ranges are all over the shop because you've just got all this stuff in the way. And it's not like blocking terrain, it's forest. So it's like, it's you can't see through it until you get into it, and then suddenly you can. So I think, yeah, forests are probably some of the most interesting terrain in Kings of War when it comes to messing with things. Having more forest is certainly really interesting idea. The only downside is you just need to get a hell of a lot of trees. You know, it's probably, of all the terrain types, it's probably the most tedious to put together perhaps, but the good thing is you can just generally just buy trees, you know, for all kinds of things. So yeah, maybe I should just get a whole bunch more forests so I can really forest it up on my terrain tables. So that is the layout of the terrain. So what about the armies? So I think this particular scenario, what we were playing, wait, did it come up there? No, I didn't have this scenario. I think the scenario, there it is control. So we're playing control. So you divide up your board into the 6 regions of same size. So you've got your middle and you've got your sides, and you've got to try and span out and try and control as much of it as you can by the end of the game. And you get you get 1 more point for controlling the opposite center. So I need to get over here and control his side, and he needs to get over here and control my side. So that's control.
Affiliation partner of the channel, Pathfinder Game Distribution, are the only exclusively Mantic stockists in Australia. So if you're in Australasia area and need some Mantic product, be it Kings of War, Firefight, Dead Zone or Terrain Crate, then check out Pathfinder Game Distribution.
Now, what about my deployment? So what I've got here, I've got let's go from left to right. So I've split up my army. You know, I always say, don't split up your army, don't split up your army. But you know what? I thought with all these forests, all this stuff in the way, and really just not wanting to layer up too much because a lot of my stuff was in previous games starting to get a bit stuck. I thought, okay, no, I need to spread out a bit and use my threat range. So I've got my speedy flank here on the left and my solid right. It's just going to kind of creep up and be, well, solid. So speedy flank is the ocean-born Naiad Worm Riders, that's a mouthful, with the 2 Knuckers and the Kraken. So very simple. They're just going to go up and cause some havoc. and they've just got this whole left side with this blocking terrain kind of dividing the table into two. On the right side, we have the Naiad and Water Elemental contingent. We have Water Elemental, we have Naiad and Sarah, Greater Water Elemental, Naiad and Sarah, and Water Elemental. And then on the far right, we can't see them, the poor little the troop of River Guard that are just kind of sitting there hoping to get a cheeky flank. Backing these guys up, we've got the Mythician here, just on the right, and then on the left we have the Naiad Envoy, and that be my army. So not much to it. So what about Geoff Holland's army? Well, let's see if I can remember it quite well. But we have his whole army arrayed here, and he's made of one solid line of Northern Alliance. So from the right to the left, I think over here we have one of the Thanes on Frostfang. And then that will be a Pack Hunter, Frost Giant, just the standard Frost Giant, because Grim's over here. These are the Hearthguard, Pack Hunter Regiment, Pack Hunter Regiment, another Thane on Frostfang. There's Hrym, big old Hrym. Then we have essentially the whole formation together. So we have the troops of Berserkers with the Frostclaw Riders behind them, and another Pack Hunter Regiment. So there you go. Lots and lots of Northern Alliance, evenly spread out. So most of the shooting, I'd say, is more on the right side here. So there's 3 Pack Hunter Regiments here and 1 Pack Hunter Regiment there. But this one really won't be able to contribute much just because there's a lot of line of sight blocking. Whereas at least on this right side, these 3 regiments, these 2 being in this forest, this being in this forest, they'll be able to just start shooting straight away. The downside is he's shooting into things that have regeneration. So this whole right side is regenerating to some degree, either a lot, like with a 4+ or 5+ with the standard water elementals. So that will be quite annoying for him, I can imagine. But yeah, so that's the whole thing. That's the layout. So yes, control, off we go. So just taking some pictures. Yeah, isn't that nice terrain? He painted all these little toadstools that are sticking out of the tree. It's just beautiful centerpiece. It's literally a centerpiece. It's the center of the board. There we go. We've got the Frost Giant, Pack Hunters right there, and there's these guys. I think these are Chaos Warrior models that he's used as his Hearthguard. Looking very fearsome. Oh, getting a bit blurry, getting a bit far. There we go. A bit more in focus. Amazing for him. Just the giant model. Whenever I see it, and you can. There's so many options inside the kit. It's just it's always a delight to see because it's just like, why did they pick this one? So it's for him. And we've got various other units, and there's the Berserkers with the Frostclaw Riders. And here's my stuff. Good old Kraken. I really think the Kraken has got a new lease on life thanks to that unique upgrade, because before it was just like, I just couldn't quite do it. But now, with that upgrade, having the Thunderous Charge 1 on top of the Crushing 2 means he's actually getting through, because before he would not. It would just be like, because he's got 12 attacks, and then you hit 4+, so half of them will hit 6. And then if he's only got Crushing 2, then into Defense 5 stuff, it's just like, of those 6, 4 damage. 4 damage from a monster, it's just not quite. Ugh. Whereas if he's wounding on 2+ to most things, then that's, 5 damage, sometimes 6 damage. That's much better. That means he's like, bam, punch. So it feels more satisfying. For how big a model it is, you want it to feel satisfying when it gets in. You want to feel like it is doing what it feels like it should be doing. A Knucker shouldn't go in and do 6 damage. That's silly. Unless it gets a crazy, rear or something. But when a Kraken goes in, it should be doing 6 damage. 6 damage isn't going to rout anything. It just feels good. That's all. Anyway, continuing. And here's another army over here. Good old army shot. All arrayed, ready to go. Turn 1. Thank you, Direct Misfire. So he moves up. He goes first. We can kind of see how the armies divide up. Just trying to get close, but he can't get too close because he knows that if he's just trying to keep it out of threat range of all different things. So that's harder to do on the left side, easy to do on the right side because nothing's particularly fast over here. So he's just moving up and put the Frost Giant first, and then all the Pack Hunters are just ready to start shooting away. And shooting they do. So we get 1 damage here on the Naiad and Snares, but they're in cover. So even though they're defense 3, being in cover definitely helps. And his units have moved in cover, so it's all kinds of negatives to shooting. So yeah, not much damage in this first turn. And these Pack Hunters over here since these guys are in the forest, a little bit of shooting there too, but very inconsequential. And I got regenerate, so I ain't worried. I move up, and we got fast contingent trying to approach the forest. So I put out the Kraken first, not Kraken, 𝗪𝗃𝗀 into the forest to just be like, hey, hello, peeking 𝗪𝗃𝗀, definitely in charge range of a whole bunch of things, but it's a dangerous job trying to charge him because you've got a knight and worm riders, we got a Kraken, and then I put this 𝗪𝗃𝗀 here on the angle. Very cheeky, I would say. Just trying to be like, watch out. I think it's cheeky, but yeah, we'll see. But just, yeah, setting up my angles and making sure everything has got something looking at it. On the right side's a bit more standard. I just move up and wiggle things a little bit, so if anything wants to charge anything, they're going to be giving a flank to something else, like very obviously. And I think my Riverguard troop is somewhere hopping around here, but yeah, they're a bit off screen, so sorry, Riverguard. And yeah, I'm just zooming in a little bit. Oh, there's the River Guards. Yeah, so they're just sitting there ready to hit a flank if they can. These are the metal ones. They're pretty cool models. Turn 2. Alright, it's a bit blurry. It's a bit hard to see, but you can kind of get an idea. There's combats going on everywhere. So we've got left, we've got the Vanguard, the two Berserkers have gone into the 𝗪𝗃𝗀. We also have the Frostclaw Riders going into my other 𝗪𝗃𝗀. So all 𝗪𝗃𝗀s are engaged, but no fights over here on the right. So zooming in, let's see, we have, the two Berserker regiments going into the 𝗪𝗃𝗀, but they're Berserker regiments that are going through, Berserker troops going through a forest, so hindered, into and ensnaring 𝗪𝗃𝗀. So they're going to be hitting on 5s, which, even with a whole load of attacks, is not a great start. And I don't think they have crushing strength, so they're going to really be struggling to actually do any damage there, despite the weight of numbers, because this guy is 13-15, so he's no slouch. Definitely no slouch. Going into the Kraken here, I believe this tuft designates the fighting presence of the Thane. So the Thane on Frostfang has gone to the front of the Kraken just to prevent my Kraken from coming in and finishing out their combat too quickly, because the Frost Giant wants to become part of it all. And yes, to hold off my sneaky flanking 𝗪𝗃𝗀 that I thought I was being so smart about, and I probably should have measured that distance, the Frostclaw Riders have just gone zoop, straight over because they could see it. So really, I should try and maybe put him back over here when he was outside the Frostclaw Riders, or make sure they were out of range, because now the Frostclaw Riders have managed to get over, and they're essentially in my back, because if they finish this up really nice and quickly, they can turn around. The only thing that will prevent them from finishing very nice and quickly is that I have Ensnare, and they only have 9 attacks. So even though they're not bad at combat, they're going to be hitting on 4s with 9 attacks. So that just means that straight up the damage output is not going to be enough to take out even in that first turn. Over here, loads of shooting, lots of shooting. So this is him just frantically rolling all the different dice for the different regiments. Pew, 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 pew. 8 damage on my Naiad and Snares, which is a bit rude, but I'm defense 3. I've moved out of cover, so I've asked for it. That's why he picks them. So hopefully, the Radiance of Life, some regen. I mean, right now they're fine because they've got Bastion going, so these guys have got they've got their nerve bumped up. So for now, I think we're okay. So over here, we've got damage coming in. There was some shooting here onto the Knight and Worm Riders from the Pack Hunters. So that's pretty standard. So these guys, they roll like crazy. So even though I was saying all those reasons why they shouldn't do well, their 9 attacks resulted in 6 damage. So that's a bit rude. And this one gets 5 damage done to it, so it's wavered with a nice roll on the nerve. But yeah, these Berserkers are stuck there. And so it is my turn. And so what do? Well, I move up on the right again a bit more, and you can see I'm making this whole encircling maneuver. And what I did have is 1 charge that was available onto these Pack Hunters with my Water Elementals, and more on that later. And over here I've just fully engaged. So on the fast flank, now we have this wavered 𝗪𝗃𝗀. I just withdrew, pivoted, moved back, pivoted, and moved back more. So I just got straight out of dodge. So one thing you can do any wavering is you can move back, and sometimes it's just good to do that. Not very useful when you're slow infantry, but when you're a fast 𝗪𝗃𝗀, you can actually get a decent distance away, especially with that withdraw move. And so one of those troops of Berserkers is about to get destroyed, hopefully, by my 20 attacks of Worm Riders, because they got upgraded to 20 attacks last year, which was really nice. We're going to keep going back into this Thane, which only did 1 damage to my Kraken, who didn't mind. And so yeah, this 𝗪𝗃𝗀's is going back into into the Frost Claws. He's got 5 damage on him, so definitely don't have any heal in this army, so maybe maybe I said, oh, maybe I told him, actually I haven't seen it and he re-rolled it, I'm not sure. But somehow I managed to lose some damage there, so hopefully I'm not cheating. Sorry, sorry, Geoff, if that's the case. Over here, yes, I'm just making a nice ring where everything that, if he charges anything, it's giving up a flank to something else, and then you have the leapy frogs over here in the back line, so they're just waiting to jump over. But on the left, I managed to charge right in. Oh, actually, let's take a look here. So yeah, regen. So we've got my radiance of life plus the regen. That's actually average. That's how it should be. So yeah, we're down to 3 damage after that 8. So no longer so danger. And so, but I did realize that I need to shut down some of the shooting. So that's why I did not hesitate when I saw this opportunity to charge right here. And so that's what I've gone and done. I've charged these pack hunters. So with these pack hunters, they were just in range, and I realized that the way he'd arranged his units, that the only punishment that these water elementals would get would be from some other pack hunters. And water elementals, pretty tough. I think they can actually take maybe a flank charge from pack hunters. Maybe they can't, but I just thought, either way, that's shutting down some shooting so that my rest of my army can just kind of do its grindy thing instead of getting shot to pieces. Because yeah, as I was moving out into the terrain, this was not going to be sustainable if I just keep on taking 3 regiments of pack hunters. Because also now these guys will not have line of sight easy to my army, so now it's just 1 regiment of pack hunters that will be shooting mine at. But we're lucky and we managed to take them right out. We're all hot, and so now we're facing his other regiment of pack hunters in the front with nothing behind me to worry my water elementals. So yeah, it's not a good situation for Geoff. Over here, the Worm Riders do take out that Berserker troop, no problem. They're not particularly tough, and these guys have got a lot of attacks. And so now we're just facing down his whole army with my Worm Riders. My mayhnäcka does struggle to get that Thane down though, so it's just, he's got 4 damage on the Thane. And here, I think we did, I don't even know if we did 1 damage. I think what happened is I did no damage with my mayhnäcka, so he gets to go in, still with his Thunderous Charge, so yeah, I deserve that. Turn 3, another blurry action shot. This is the one when I'm supposed to be like calm and make sure, but you know, I'm going to move on from this as quick as possible. But you know, thing has happened, so let's go into the zoom ins. So here, I do need to show. So finally, Geoff has gone aim shit and decided to engage my entire front line that was all curled up there. So my Naiads and water elementals all combined, he's gone into them. And so into the water elementals, he sent in the Frost Giant and some pack hunters. So that's to take them out, and does a whole grand total of 10 damage, which is quite a lot. But these are guys dash 17, and if they're close to that bastion, they'll be dash 18. Pretty hard to get rid of. Over here, we have my water elementals getting hit by the Thane, 3 damage, but you know, it's still holding 3 damage, you can't even tickle it. And then these Hearthguard, well, they're pretty good, but not when they're going hindered through terrain into an ensnaring unit. Then suddenly they go from Blender Lords extraordinaire to just, you know, average Joes. And so they just do 6 damage to these ensnarers. And their crushing strength doesn't really matter because I'm defense 3, so whatever. But, you know, it just goes to show, you know, some good placement of some, what is generally considered not a great unit, a regiment of ensnarers, works pretty well. Works pretty well indeed. And over here, the 4 damage has been done by these pack hunters going into the water elementals. So the water elementals can totally take that. They can just sit there. The only danger is that they are not inspired. So any spiky rolls could take them out, but not at 4 damage. They need to get 1 more damage, and then you could double 6 them, and bam, gone. So that's the only fear. The mayhnäcka takes a bit more damage, but still sticks around somehow. Whereas the Kraken takes a lot more damage, going up to 8 from that Thane, so that's not good. And that's because, well, if we went back all the way here, we would have seen that there's a moonwalking 𝗲𝗰, and that's because, well, we're all these titans, we can't touch each other because all our weapons are getting, and tentacles are getting in the way. So his 𝗲𝗰 is now in the combat as well, and definitely adding in some much needed damage where the Thane was kind of falling short. And over here we take a huge amount of damage, up to 12 now on the Oceanborn Worm Riders, from the Berserkers combined with the Pack Hunters, because yeah, we've got low defense, and these guys do not have ensnaring, so when they get hit, they really get hurt. And Pack Hunters are pathfinding, so they can go straight through that terrain. So yeah, not great. So, but we're wavering, we can go back, we can regenerate, hopefully we can fight some more. And so that's what I do. My turn, yeah, we're just backing up, getting out, and trying to unglue this situation. What is this after? I think, yeah, so that must have been after a whole bunch of stuff. So the Kraken struck back, and then the Knucker. Did the Kraken... Have I killed Frim? I don't think. I can't have killed Frim. Let's go on both. Maybe I killed Rim, but that seems unlikely. My Knucker did get back in. It is now into the, because it was here, you could see the rear, so I went to the rear of the Thane. No, so maybe I did go into Frim somehow. Because there's the Thane, but yeah, so we'll see. And then over here, we're just grinding it out. So what's happened is these ensnarers have gone to the flank of the Giants. Don't expect much from there, but they have gone down to 1 damage. These ones that were on quite a high amount of damage, also regenerating, and we're going back into the Frost. You can't see him there, but the Thane on Frostfang. But really what the exciting part is that my frogs that were sitting here can jump with their leaper right into the flank of the Hearthguard, the tribesmen. So that's not going to be good for them. The ensnarers weren't going to take them out at all. They can barely fight their way out of a pillow. But the River Guard, they're a bit more punchy. So there's something a bit more considerable. And we've got the Water Elementals going back into the Pack Hunters over here, which might be able to take them out as they did over on this side. So we got Frim. Yeah, no, Frim's there. He's just holding it there. Classic hill, where everything's just tipping over. So it's the kaiju battle, which is very exciting. But over here, well, I got a Bane Chant off onto, I think I put it onto the Ensnarers, because, why not? And so we got damaging stuff over here. Waver, so I think that Waver must be for Frim. I think. No, that's a Waver on the Thane on Frostfang, so that's good that he's shut down for a bit. My Knucker finally, I think, started doing some damage there, 3 damage, so that's good. I think this is to designate something. What's that? Putting them on there. Maybe he's wavered. I don't think I'm wavered. Yeah, 4 damage on there. So we're starting to do some damage to Frim. These water elementals do 6 damage over here. This is in the middle of the board, if you remember. So it's the water elementals that went off and killed 1 Pack Hunter unit. Now they're slowly grinding their way through the next Pack Hunter unit. Good job. Yeah, Hearthguard with the River Guard in the flank could not handle it. They're gone. And the Thane on Frostfang takes a little bit of damage. I mean, yeah, the Great Water Elemental. He is a cool model, really cool, but yeah, damage output, not great. So he's really just a big anvil, which is not bad. The only problem is the Trident Realm army is not lacking for anvils. And here we have 7 damage done onto the Pack Hunters by these Water Elementals. So Water Elementals taking out Pack Hunters. This is happening quite a lot. These ones did not do very well in their regen, but they only have regen 5+, so I didn't expect much to get back. And my flanking Ensnarers do manage to do 6 damage to the Frost Giant here. Turn 4. So Geoff hitting back in turn 4. Ooh, sorry, that was my dog, Rocket. He sometimes barks in his sleep. Be quiet. Alright, sorry if that burst your eardrums. We have the renewed attack onto my Worm Riders, who, they were wavered, so they didn't really do much apart from move back. But hopefully they can weather this storm while I deal with all this stuff. So we've got all kinds of battles continuing to go on. Knuckers going back into Thanes, Krakens back into Giants, and Giants into Krakens. So we'll just see how this all pans out. And the fight continues with these water elementals. Actually, that's 6 damage. That might be after combat. So they did 6 damage. So yeah, my Worm Riders are doing okay. But that's also why I backed up, actually. I backed up, and that meant that they would have to do a fresh charge, go through terrain. So not so much a problem for the Pack Hunters, but it is a problem for these Berserkers, because those Berserkers do not like going through terrain. So there's a reason why you should always think, even if you're like, well, I can't do anything, I'm wavered, what am I doing? Even just moving backwards can be advantageous, just to survive a turn longer. I might kill them with these Worm Riders, but if they can just hold them up while the rest of the army does some stuff, if you've only got 6 to 7 turns in a game, this kind of thing can matter. But we've got some damage being done over here. Obviously this guy's not doing any damage, he's wavered, but the Giant trying to hit through, but the Giant, he's hitting on 4+, within snaring 5+, so that's really diminishing, and he's got variable attacks. Even though he's Shrimp, he's got more attacks than usual, but there's a lot of variation in it, so he's got 2d6, so he could be going all the way up to, like, 22 attacks and then dropping down to 12. It's crazy. And then they're hitting on 5s. So it's less like how much damage is actually going to get through. So yeah, it's wild. Kaiju battles, when it comes to Kraken versus something else, are crazy because suddenly all the statistics go out the window. And so then here, yeah, it's got some damage done onto the water elementals, but they're fine. And we have a bit of damage by the giant. So this is the frost giant going into the snare. I mean, he's got crushing strength in spades, but it doesn't matter. We're defense 3. But again, the ensnaring is a giant's bane. They just can't handle hitting on 5s. I mean, hitting on 4s is already like, oof. That's tricky, but hitting on 5s is not fun at all. And yeah, just some more damage from the pack hunters into the water elementals, but they're fine. But what's not fine is the 𝗪𝗃𝗀𝗀. The 𝗪𝗃𝗀𝗀 has now been taken down by the frost claws, and these frost claws are now free. They're in my back line. Thankfully, my army has kind of moved away from where it was before. You know, if this happened 2 turns ago, I'd be like, oh shit. But now that that's moved up a bit, they don't have as much a beeline on anything very important. So I just got to keep that in mind. Oh, there's some real damage. So yeah, I was speaking too soon. Yeah, Hrim got a bit more accurate. So he's wavered my Kraken. So that's not good. So it's wavered. It's not going to be attacking back. It'll only be regenerating, which I guess is something. And here, whole bucket load of damage, 17. And I think this is where he rolled Snake Eyes. Oh no, I'm on a regenerating newness. That's never fun. Oh, it's fun for me. I'm going to roll 17 dice. You know, regenerate a bunch. But yeah, he rolled Snake Eyes there. Just when he had him, and yeah, that's when Geoff was like, "Grr." And yeah, the Snake Eyes is literally all that would save them, and it saved them. Poor Geoff. So yeah, my turn. You see that? You see, it's subtle. So it was 17, and then I rolled it over to a 7. So I regenerated like crazy, and yeah, and I was just going to attack. I attacked back the berserkers because I know I could take them out. My poor Kraken's just kind of sitting there, but did regenerate a decent amount. Over here, I started going in, so I've got the River Guard going into the flank of the giant here, because it was just stuck there, and we've got the Ensnarers into the flank of the Thane, who's still in combat with my Water Elemental. And these Greater Water Elemental, the Standard Water Elementals are still going into Pack Hunters respectively. So there's one Water Elemental versus Pack Hunter battle on the right, and one on the left. Take note. And yeah, we're regenerating. We got Bastion, we got Bane Chant. It's just, yeah, we're really turning everything up to a higher grade. And these guys just managed to get through the next lot of Pack Hunters. They did that all by themselves. They just went, bang, killed one, and then turned, and took a little bit longer to take out the second one. But hey, Water Elementals, pretty dang good. Especially in the terrain-heavy field game. But I definitely will start actually thinking of taking Water Elementals more, whereas before I was kind of like, I put these guys on bases, and then, like, you know, I did all this stuff, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's just not work. These aren't very good, but yeah, I think they're good. They're definitely heavy. Boy, that is a heavy unit. They're fully metal. Over here, we managed to get to some double figures here, 11 damage on Hrim, so doing some more damage. Still can't get rid of this Thane, jeez. No, that's the Thane. The Thane's on 11 damage, wave it again, but still can't get rid of him. Doing some damage to Hrim, but that's taking ages. So I need something to die so I can jump into combat with something else to help take out Hrim. We do manage to take out the Berserkers with my Worm Riders, so now they can focus only onto these Pack Hunters, so we just slid right across, just facing them. And then over here, we've got, yes, finally, Water Elementals also took out the other Pack Hunters. So all Pack Hunters have been taken out by Water Elementals. So it turns out the bane of a Pack Hunter is a Water Elemental, which are now facing the rear of this giant who's just gotten flanked by these, by the River Guard. But the River Guard flank did not manage to break this wide open. You can see here is like 11 damage, so it's not completely successful. I mean, River Guard, they do just hit on 4s. It's like, it is 30 attacks, but 15, and defense 5, so we're crushing 1, so it becomes 7 damage. And yeah, these ensnarers were wavered, so it's, yeah, 7 damage. Whatever. That's not a big deal. Especially he didn't have that much damage on him already, so really I need these Water Elementals to come in, and he's deep on 10 damage, so they did take quite the beating. They were first hit by Old Mate Frost Giant, and then they're also the Pack Hunters for a while, so they've been taking a beating, but they're still sticking around, so doing pretty good. Over here, another one taking a beating is the Thane on Frostfang, but he's not going down just yet. And over here, yes, we got some regeneration there, but what am I indicating? I think Old Mate Frost Giant's still there, so I think I just took a picture again. Yes, turn 5. Here we go, getting to the tail end of the game. So, what does he do? Obviously, countercharging back into the Kraken to take him out, hopefully. And got the Thane still wavered, and the Pack Hunters have gone into my Worm Riders. The Frost Claws have shuffled over to this position to get a more advantageous view over at the flanks, but he's also controlling the central control region of my side. So he's getting the 2 victory points right there if I don't boot him out of it. So, he's been a bit smart there. Over here, he's got the Frost Giant has turned to face the River Guard, because, if you're going to have something in the flank, it might as well be Naiads, because Naiads are not really that dangerous, whereas River Guard in the flank definitely hurts. They just have crushing strength 1 that just makes them straight up harder and have a few more attacks. Whereas the Thane here is just trying to take out the Water Elemental. These Pack Hunters, they took out the poor Worm Riders. They got them up to 13 damage, and this time no double ones to save them. They are dead. So the Pack Hunters have taken out the Worm Riders, and they're not even damaged. So yeah, zooming out. What are we looking at? Is it now my turn? I don't think so. Now it is. So yeah, I've just done my regenerations. So down to 2 damage there on the Kraken, which is really pissing off. I think this whole game he was just like, why do you regenerated how much? Because yeah, everything's got ensnaring, everything's regenerating. It's just like, there's nothing sticking, and there's a lot of effort to get the damage done. Over here, we managed to only 3 damage was done to the River Guard, because they too also have ensnaring, and the poor Frost Giant has variable attacks, and he doesn't have he has the club, so he doesn't actually have Slayer. Oh, he doesn't have Rampage, so he's only got Slayer. So against these guys, he's only doing D6, 8 plus D6. So that hitting on 5s, they could easily just drop down to like 1 damage, maybe even no damage sometimes. And so he's stuck there, and now he gets a flank from the Water Elementals. So these things are all getting grinded away, and so Water Elementals in, they've regenerated a bit. It's just, and it all just wipes up. It's a wash, with because the Water Elementals get it, because they're washing things. It was just all these things got stuck in, and they just couldn't get through. They couldn't get out, and it just kind of the whole wall of nerves, and there's not much defense. Like, yes, obviously the Water Element stuff's got defense 5, but overall it's just the Bastion combined with lots of regen, some radiance of life, everything just stuck around. I mean, you look here, all the Naiad units that are here are now back to full health completely. So they've taken damage over the course of the game. They've probably taken enough to take each of them out respectively, but they've just managed to completely come back. And so maybe there is a secret source to having Naiads work, but it is tricky, because if they get focus fired early in the game from just shooting, they can just drop instantly, and you'd be like, why did I take that? But that's the case with a lot of when you're going against shooting armies. So there's something here, and it was fun. Turn 6. Well, the Kraken and the Giants continue to face off, and I'm wavered, but I am regenerating like crazy. So he's got like 6 damage on him, which sticks. I've got 2 damage on me because I just keep regenerating, and he just keeps struggling to hit. Whereas my Knucker is now the only thing that's holding back these Pack Hunters from getting into the combat and taking out my poor Kraken. And the Knucker does take 8 damage, but sticks around. And on the other side, I've got the run of the place. So I just spread out to get this central area, this far area, and this right part. But I don't have enough stuff to come down here and take the Frost Claws off. And so the Frost Claws are just like, you know what? We're not going to go for any flanking attacks. We're just going to stay right here. And so here is where they stay with their 2 damage from the Knucker that they killed over here. So that is where it sits, and that's where it ended. So the battle between the kaiju never ended. It just went on in perpetuity, and maybe I might eventually take him down, but I'm doing like a couple of damage if I'm not wavered, and this guy's hitting me like super hard, even though I can regenerate. But he was getting lucky with some of those waivers, which is perfectly fine, because I got that really annoying double 1 over there that totally threw out his plans. But there you go. So he let's see, 2 unit strength for Pack Hunters, 2 unit strength there, so 4. So I think he got something over one of the ones over here and this central one, but I got 1, 2, and 3, and I got this one considerably. So yeah, I got the important 2, so these cancel out, and then I have these 2 regions here. So I won, but it was actually quite close. Even if he didn't manage to get through a lot of the army on my side. But yeah, so that was overall whole tournament super fun. Got to play with lots of terrain. Like just try it out. Just think, what if I just put down a lot, and maybe just one kind. It's like, what if I just want to have a really foresty table, or what if I just want fields, like lots of like like fields that are hard to, not like meadows, more like like lots of farming fields, or all kinds of difficult terrain. Rivers. That's why I made these rivers. They were pretty fun to make, and so now I've got 4 segments of river that I can use on any battle. So you're going to see those a lot in any of the battle reports that I do at home. And yeah, it's just fun, just with more terrain. Because I mean, the good thing about Kings of War is the terrain rules aren't that complicated. I mean, they became more complicated for sure with the way cover works in terms of shooting. Like you got your concealed versus obscured, whatever. But in general, terrain rules are pretty easy to navigate, say compared to other game systems of days gone past, where you're just like, what is it? How does it interact? Or you just ignore it entirely because it's just going to stuff up your whole army, like your poor dwarves moving at half speed. Whereas terrain here, perfectly fine to have heaps of it in there, and you just tell people in advance, especially for an event, and they can make an army that works for it. And if they bring an army that has a cavalry horde, they know what they're in for. So yeah, it was a great day. Fantastic to see all the people turn up, and the best part was that by the end, people really just wanted to play on as many tables as they could. So when it came to the last pairings, I worked out who had to go against what, but then which table they went on was more like, oh well, I haven't played on the one with the dwarf terrain, I haven't played on the village, and everyone was just trying to they just wanted to play with cool toys, and so that was the best part, was just realizing that everyone was getting into the spirit of just enjoying games, playing on it. No one was thinking, I gotta get the best score in my game, or strategizing that. People just wanted to play on the next piece of terrain, like table that they hadn't played on, and then I thought that was fun, because then that's really what the whole event was about, was just having fun on the different tables. And so yeah, I think it was a good success. We'll do it again. Terrain Rec number 2 coming out sometime later in the year. I do have battle reports coming out soon. I'm going to do a big single battle report covering the Enigmatic Isle, which was a tournament run by the Direct Misfire lads, which was fantastic. Speaking of fancy terrain tables, that one was really fun, with really crazy extra rules in there. And so I'm going to be just doing one big report that covers all 3 games in one video, because to split them up into individual videos means I have to repeat what was the special stuff about this tournament 3 times, which will be very tedious. So it's easier if I just put it all in one, and then you can just enjoy it. It'll be a long video, so it probably won't do as well in terms of like views and stuff, but who cares? It'll be a fun video to make. So look forward to that and other content coming up, and like and subscribe, whatever. It's just helps the channel grow a bit and more people see some Kings of War stuff. And I'll see you guys later.